I play golf. I hate golf. Oh man, that's good.
All right, great. So we're live. You might want to like check your feeds to see if those things get posted or not. I definitely do see them.
Oh, let's go. Amazing.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like you just like released a book or something, John. It feels like you're on like the book tour. You're on Equation of Excellence. You're hitting the DTC show. You're hitting like all the big media outlets. I love it.
Yep. Can you guys see this from my feed? Because I don't think I see it.
I do.
Yeah, I just posted. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. There it is. Yeah, it was buried. I already reposted all yours. So yeah, got it. We're good.
A lot going down this week. I'm excited to get into this. I will say, spoiler alert. Cops and Robbers might be a little weak. I've been working.
Took a week off.
Yeah, sometimes tax season and everything. You look back at you're like, did I really spend that? No, I didn't spend that much money. I did spend that much money, so I exuded some control over that. But the news section will be crazy.
Right? If you're buying it for the pods to review, it's a write-off.
This is true. This is true. You just write it off for all of our Seinfeld fans out there.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure we might not even get to it. I know we have there's a lot of content going on. So I have a very little lengthy segment on AI music and Suno.com. And Robert, just so you know, all of the jingles have been entirely rewritten with AI for this show.
No way.
Yep.
Gosh, I'm so bullish on AI. I was so bearish on, or not ever bearish, but I couldn't get my thesis around it. But man, there is it's a multiplicative tool, and you are multiplying, baby. I'm excited.
Yeah, so you should come out of this with a very good understanding of what's going on the music front.
So that prompted the cryptic question. I thought it was like a birthday question or something. I was like, what is that? So weird. It's such a hard answer. What are your top 3 bands, John?
Top 3 bands. Oh, I'm a classic rock type of guy. Pink Floyd is probably number 1.
Well, let's go. Another brick.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, I would say. I mean, Fleetwood Mac is up there.
Dude, the Stevie Nicks, drummer sitch, that is the wildest stuff to be singing love songs, and then you're in love. Anyways, that's a whole, for people that don't know, go look it up. It's a wild story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say probably the Rolling Stones, number 3.
Strong.
Yeah. Electronic music is my number 1.
Oh, you're in Miami. It's in the blood out there.
Oh, yeah.
I like hype music, but the playability, I can't listen to it constantly. I'm not gonna chill and go bang out some Dara dude or something. You know what I mean? While I'm just trying to relax.
Yeah, you're just not listening to the right music then.
I'll
send you a few mixes that you're gonna enjoy.
What about you, Jess? Where do you land in your musical dispositions?
So I'm like that annoying person who so I was an underground hip hop DJ for a while.
Yes,
so I was
I forget about that.
If it becomes popular, I hate it now. And I still retain a lot of that. But Fred again, I love these days.
Yep.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that you've never heard of, but that I do love. And I just love almost every genre. It's pretty crazy. I can always find something good in there. Shaq in the chat.
Oh Lordy, on dad duty
leave.
I know, right? This guy on dad duty, so you can actually interact now. I love it. Shout out to Kingsley, the newest Shackelford, beautiful little baby. You guys did a great job over there. I forgot you used to DJ. I forgot about that.
So did I, because it was so long ago.
He was, John, you're also rubbing up shoulders with greatness. He was were you the pioneer? Are we going with the pioneer? What's the superlative around the infographic?
I would say I popularized it.
I like that verb.
Commercialized,
Yeah. Jess used to be the infographic king many lives ago.
So many careers.
Nice.
All right, 10 seconds. We'll start off with the all new intros here. You guys ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
It's the DTC Shoooooow. Jump right in, you better get on it fast. Don't miss anything with Grandma and Jess. It's the latest news and some random ass guests. All your favorite segments that got you obsessed. Win some merch, be a part of the show. Get your mess up in the chat and let it all flow. So jump right in, there's so much to know. It's your #1 market show.
Okay, I'll just turn that off. How about that? It goes on.
Was that made with AI?
Sure, it sure was. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That sounded very close to the human generated stuff we used to rock with.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow,
it was made with Suno.com. All of the jingles that you'll hear on this show today have been rewritten with AI, and we actually have a segment about AI music a little bit later, and we have 5 different versions of our intro song in a lot of different genres to try and push this platform and see where we can go.
Interesting. We do have some pushback from the Peanut Gallery, Miss Kilroy. And I gotta say, it was good,
Right.
But the original was great.
Right. Yeah, but it's apples to apples. So one costs like $150, took a guy a couple of days, and the other one was free and took about 10 seconds. So you have to compare.
Disruption theory, kids, go look it up. That's interesting.
In that frame. So welcome everyone to the show. It looks like we already have 103 people in the counter here, and we got a great show. We got a great guest. There's a lot going on, but I just want to, as always, there's an opportunity to win merch, and now we have a sort of a jingle for that. So let's get into it.
It's a bird, it's plain. It's DTC show merch, and it's insane. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's DTC show merch, and it's insane. DTC show merch, and it's insane.
So,
I need one of those for sure.
Oh,
that's a phenomenal Lord Commander. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, we'll send you one of these for sure. But if anyone wants to win this limited edition, literally 2 of a kind on Earth, will be all you have to do is retweet this, and you'll be added to the draw. Or if you leave a nice comment or an interesting comment, like all these 4 people already. So my wife's already in there trying to win the shirt. But
let's go.
So I'm sure has this meme been done to death for you over the past few years?
Every meme possible. Yeah. Yeah. New York Post actually wrote an article about me like 5 to 10 years ago, what it's like to be the real life Jon Snow. I've gotten it all.
Yes. To be fair, there's a lot of.
Drop a link to that article underneath the show's comments on Twitter.
Well, add it to the pile, I guess. We're doing it again. All right. So to introduce our guest here, we have the guest in 10 seconds segment. Jonathan, have you seen this before or no?
I actually have.
Oh,
I haven't timed a 10-second intro, so it'll be interesting.
All right. Well, let's see what you can do here.
Are we blessed?
All right. We opened an affiliate marketing platform, built a bunch of brands, sold a bunch of brands, built and sold an agency, was a former active duty Air Force service member, and an orthodontist.
Wow, that was like over before it even started. Oh my God. All right, well now you get extra credit for that.
I got practice.
Well done.
So if you want to know more, check the description below.
All right. Well done. We were getting so good at this. I don't know. We're not surprising anyone anymore.
That was the number one. That was above and beyond the top. Yeah, you took it.
All right. So into we'll talk later about you more in depth a little bit later here, but we start to the news of the week. So let's sort of dive in here.
Dun, 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 dun.
So DTC news of the week. The latest news with a spicy critique.
That wasn't bad, huh?
I like that one, and you hit the time on that one. I feel like some of them have been a little long in the tooth. This is like that was perfect.
Yep, exactly. So we have Chase Diamond up in the chat. Diamond.
Let's go.
We got a lot of hitters here. So the first news item: proposed U.S. federal privacy bill, which I believe is called APRA, APRA, would limit ad targeting. From my understanding, this is kind of like the U.S. version of GDPR. And so it's been proposed. It certainly has to work its way through Congress, but it does have bipartisan support already. I'm curious if this is like people are freaking out, or is this like it's just a matter of time? Because I did talk to Rock, who is a very talented media buyer in Europe, and he definitely says that GDPR, like if you follow it with 100% compliance, it's a massive data loss, and so it could lead to poor performance. But anyone else worried about this?
I'll jump in, John, and then John, I'd love to hear your take because you have a really good worldview and macro takes. But for me, I think too long didn't read. There's no way that GDPR can be seen as nothing but a failure. It doesn't really save people. It doesn't really help people, and it just makes doing business even harder and makes terrible user experiences. With that being said, like when you talk to US based people or people that run like text or email in the States, it's a wild west out here, where when you go to Europe, in specific, like Western Europe or the UK, it's a big deal, man. There's big fines. The fines actually get doled out. There's oversight. So for me, I think it's like kind of one of those things that, like, in theory, you're like, oh, you can kind of get on board with it ish. But then in practice, it just really is the proverbial law of unintended consequences, where you're just making things harder for people. And the people that want to get around it. And the people that are breaking it don't really even care, because they just can't either get prosecuted, or it's just worth actually breaking the law because the payout is so much bigger than the actual punishment. So I don't know. I think it might be just a lot of drum beats around just a political year or a presidential election stuff. But anyways, that's my Debbie Downer take.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not too concerned. It seems like a long shot to go through, but I mean, if we think about it, I did read a little bit about this. Was pretty surprising that U.S. was I think only 20% of countries in the world don't currently have a national privacy situation like this. You know, much like GDPR, it's more on the state level, like California.
Right.
I was surprised to see that, but I think this one particularly probably a long shot. I do also think, like, related to this bill was they want people to be able to control and like their own data across different digital platforms. I mean,
right.
I mean, it's very easy for people to opt out of tracking when like a little pop-up comes up on your iPhone saying like opt out, ask app not to track, blah, blah, blah. But for someone to log in and go and control their data at every brand, every website, like, are they going to go out of their way and do that? Absolutely not. So I feel like, I don't think that's like a realistic, maybe it'll, you know, if it does pass, I don't think it's going to be leveraged to the extent of what it's intended to do. Go ahead, Rava.
Well, it's just a fantastic point, but that's from the consumer side. From the business side, what that does is just entrench incumbents. If I'm a small startup and then I have to be able to build all this infrastructure to deal with your data, if not, I'm not going to be compliant with the law. Facebook has a whole team they can deploy, like all these people that are already incumbents that already have a bunch of money. So again, not getting like political or anything like this, even though this is quasi politics, the best time to actually push laws through is when you are the incumbent, like, because then you can entrench yourself and then you veil it in, oh, it's privacy, it's good for the consumer, but then it really just snuffs out innovation because you start to make the barrier to entry so high. And so anyways, not trying to go on a crazy political rant, but there's some serious repercussions when people think about, oh, okay, if this is becoming law, then you're really going to start to build moats that are artificial and start to prop up people that aren't really caring about user value, but they're actually just building, again, just legislative moats.
Yep. And what I really do fear with something like this is it's going to open up a whole new ambulance chaser, type mentality, just like, website accessibility, where it's just predatory individuals and lawyers that are going after the businesses for all the wrong reasons, and they're just looking to extract money.
Yeah, that's already happened in California. We had a client who was sued because they had the TikTok pixel on their website, and the firm was on behalf of some random user in California, and just created a lawsuit and wanted to make it go away. It was like a shakedown, basically.
Yep, that's what all of these are 99% of the time.
Yep.
Which is scary for small businesses.
Taylor in the chat says it would have an effect on acquisition costs. I know that we all are marketers and we all want more data as possible. Do people deserve to have? I mean, because I think this bill would reduce some of the more nefarious data brokers out there. But do people deserve to have a right to privacy, or is it like NBD?
I mean, I think I'm going to basically fence sit here and say yes, but reasonably, right? Like, do you have like a reasonable expectation of privacy if you're walking around in public? Like, kind of, but not like if I'm in my home. Right. And so I think that's kind of the spectrum of like, if I'm on the internet, there just needs to be expectations of this, that, and the other. And then, you can build punishments around that. I feel like incentives and social norms are much stronger change agents than legislation. Legislation for me is used to ensconce those norms and those things. It's not used to incentivize, because there's an old joke, the best way to get a bad law off the books is enforce it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it comes down to, the open internet is free, right? So you're almost opting to share your data to an extent, of course, a reasonable extent, for free access to Facebook and Twitter and all the other platforms you use. Every website is free information. So there has to be some type of trade-off, unless you want to paywall everything.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens here. So moving to the next, we have Shopify. They're rolling out this new mastery score to measure employee performance, but workers can only boost their scores if they improve faster than colleagues of the same level, and only those whose scores increase will be eligible for raises. So both you guys manage people. I think, Jonathan, you manage quite a lot of people. Is this the move? It's
interesting. Shopify has been pretty innovative with their management style and kind of company vision. It seems like they're going against the grain in a lot of regards, but the way that I see it, it's almost refreshing in a sense. Over the past few years, everyone tends to think they're entitled to promotions just because inflation is here and cost of living is going up. And, it's not really merit-based promotions within it's just, I deserve this because I show up and do my job. So I actually think it's pretty refreshing. I think it will encourage the right behaviors and weed out people that are not serious about the job. For a company like Shopify, the leading name in a vastly growing industry like e-commerce, still only 20% of overall retail, for them to keep being that leading name, they need people that are going to elevate them into the future, people that are going to lead them into growth. So remains to be seen how effective it is. I think it's an innovative idea. I wonder how this is going to be objectively tracked, because it seems like there could be a lot of subjectivity kind of put into here if they're getting scored on certain, knowledge bases or whatever it may be. But I think overall it makes sense if they can execute it properly.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in that boat as well. I do think it's interesting. So, Andy, it's basically their performance reviews. I think it's interesting because there's certain orgs that have less ambiguity than others. So like engineering being one of them, sales being another, where it's like, it's very clear what's happening. Like, are you shipping more code? Are you shipping better code? Is the code, doing what? So the one thing that I will say I don't love about this is if you have a bunch of killers, because this is essentially like, a modernized version of stack ranking, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, you're still either kicking people out or like, and it's
It's not well lauded, stack ranking.
No, it sucks. Because here's what happens. Like, if you have a dream team, like, why are you going to kick people off the island? There's no, like, and so I think a better way to look at this comes from the Netflix, where they have something the CEO talks about, Reed Hastings talks about talent density. And what he means by that is they used to do all this stuff. And now what they do is they basically have managers testify for their direct reports. Right. And if you can't really make a case, or if the company's actually better off if that person left, even though like they're not looking or whatever, then here's a couple months severance or whatever your seniority warrants, keep the laptop, and we'll see on the flip. But on the other side of that, like if everybody's killing it, like the manager can testify to his boss and say, hey, all these people are killing it. I want to keep them. Let's cook. And so I think that's a better, but with that being said, this type of system probably works better when you have really high headcount, because you don't have the personal relationship, like a one-to-one direct where a manager is actually testifying for them. So I don't know. I think there's goods and bads, but I think it's a step in the right direction away from stack ranking. But I don't really, to be candid, have a bunch of really great opinions on high headcount, because that's just so far from my vibe.
Andy in chat says, does this replace performance reviews? I imagine it would. From my point of view, like one of my favorite quotes of all time, so much so that we literally have it on the front of our website, is from Charlie Munger, where it's like, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome.
That's exactly right.
And I think if you create a system where I think there's a huge chance for a Cobra effect going on here, where if you create incentive to sabotage people on the same level of you, to not work as a team, because that will like increase your, relative ranking or something. I think it's very dangerous to, like, I love all their innovation on the tech side. I think it's very dangerous to innovate with compensation styles and stuff, unless it's been like, stood the test of time or something. And so I suspect there would be major problems here.
Yeah. Last thing you do want is competition within a team that could become cancerous in a sense, because you're trying to make yourself look better than the guy next to you. So that is definitely a concern.
That I would double down on that, Jess, and say you're spot on there, where if I was bearish about this system, that is why, is because I am now, we're measuring relative versus absolute. And so I want to see your absolute impact. And if everybody has a high absolute impact, that's incredible. But if somebody's impacting at a 10, somebody's impacting at a 7, somebody's impacting at an 8, I can actually lower the output but better myself, which is a horrible misaligned incentive. Right. That's a very good call out.
The inverse, where if you're stellar, you want to go to a low performing team.
That's exactly right. When I was a kid, I was like fast, but not super fast. So instead of running sprints with the running backs and the wide receivers, I'd run them with the linemen. I was just out there cruising, and I looked like I was so much faster. And then when I had to go run with the actual fast kids, I was the slowest one there. So that's a really good call out.
Emmett says, UFC style head to head. I probably will get there after some point.
Dude,
I'm sure.
Some of the Microsoft stories you heard when stack ranking was in place was like the UFC head to head was probably like an actual amicable result. It was pretty gnarly.
All right. So moving on.
Let me get this
I'm just going to pause this video real quick. So this was an ad that was created by this brand called Get Dirty, where they used a AI influencer platform called Arc Ads. And this thing exists. And so this, we're just going to watch this ad and we'll see how we feel about it. And then we'll get into it.
So let me get this straight. You guys are telling me that when you're out of the house for hours, you're comfortable walking around with all that stanky body odor that's been building up on you all day? What's even crazier is that some of you are applying deodorant on top of that odor, which is honestly probably making it worse. Let me tell you what I do. It's a little hygiene hack. My friend told me about these cloths from Get Dirty. They were originally formulated for firefighters to remove carcinogens off their skin, which means these wipes don't play games like other wipes on the...
All right, so we kind of get the point here. But, people in the wild saw this and they're like, what's wrong with her eyes? Why does she sound like this? It was very much a moment where there was like some brand trust issues. Trust was eroded here. But is this like the first step are creators going to be like entirely, is being a creator a job that happened for 3 years in the 2020s and now it's no longer or something? Anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that this was kind of, as you watch for the first 5-10 seconds, it's hard to even tell that this is AI. But then you can tell the head movements, the voice, it's not natural after seeing kind of the way that she carries herself. But it's an interesting concept. I think at the end of the day, if the creator that's behind the AI kind of leases the license to their likeness, I don't see why it would be an issue for brands out there, for creators out there, for even consumers, if the creator signs off on essentially all of the AI variations and iterations of what they're saying, because then it's like they would have shot that anyway. So if they're clicking approve and they're saying I approve of what the AI is saying in the likeness of myself, then like
that's what happened in this case. Yeah, they have approval.
Yeah, it's like efficiency, for efficiency's sake, the win-win for the creator, to win for the brand because it's going to be more economical, and it's the same for the consumer, in my opinion, if the creator does approve this.
So actually, like happenstance, I always read the briefs for the show, but somehow I missed reading the briefs for the show because I'm a very prepared man. But I met the founder. Her name's Becky. She's really awesome. And she was telling me this whole like story in real time. So it's kind of funny to see it pop up, but I don't know. I can't decide where I land on this. I think I'm pretty much in John's court because everything was above board. Like she bought the likeness, blah, blah. And then the ad just absolutely went bonkers for her. And then the gal pinged her and messaged her directly. And then they ended up hooking up. And so she actually, obviously, as the article says, hired the human that was used to create the AI likeness. So I don't know. I don't really have, I think the challenge is as a creator, how valuable is your scarcity? Yeah. Cause you can't be across everything. Right. And so then it's like, okay, then I think it gets weird. So I think for me, that's the decision the creator needs to make of like, how much do I want to charge? Like, is it better for me to just use my likeness and I just get these royalties versus X, Y, or Z? So that for me, in terms of the value chain, is really where I would be evaluating. Because on the brand side, I don't have anything wrong with it. I think there's nothing wrong with using AI. Also, Facebook, or Meta is also going to start labeling like AI generated stuff, which I don't know how that works. Cause Rob,
on the brand side, if you're a consumer and you see someone pitching something, you may think that, they're being paid for it or something, but you don't know. But if you suspect it's AI, like how would you as a consumer feel if you were watching something and it was, I don't know, for Athletic Greens or something, and you tell it was AI? Would that lead to some, damage to the brand in your mind?
I think for me, if it's portrayed as a legit testimonial, like if it was like, hey, Susie from Arkansas that is 38.
They all will be like this was.
Yeah, well, this is more of an explainer of the product than it was like an actual like, hey, I'm Raba. This is the problem it solved. Here I am as a human. So this is the equivalent to me of like, when you put stuff in quotes, but you don't have it attributed. That's what this is equivalent to me, where it's like, you can believe it or not. I think it can get manipulative and nefarious. And if a brand did do that, like, I don't know if you're following along the, what is that bagel brand, the buns, I can't remember, but like they're showing on the product or on the package. And then you're seeing people post like what it actually is. I can't remember the name, Perfect Bagel or whatever. Anyways, that to me is way worse than what's going on here. Like, I think if there's not a claim of attribution and not a claim of representation, just using another vessel for advertising, and you're within the bounds of the value props and the things that actually your product does, that doesn't bother me that much.
Okay.
You know where this could get really interesting? It probably just gave me a good idea, but the affiliate side of social commerce. Like, imagine you're a TikTok shop affiliate and you want to make 1,000 videos across 1,000 different brands and post them all in the next month. Like, you could just be printing. That's like an arbitrage opportunity right now.
That's and again, that's I think the difference between arbitrage and value.
Yeah.
Where it's like arbitrage eventually gets eradicated away somehow, where value is much more resilient because you're creating it agnostic of the economic conditions.
From my point of view, I think this would be a very interesting tool for people who cannot afford to either use creators or use a lot of creators. But with us on the agency side, it may provide efficiencies, but our ads don't get spent based off how efficient they are to make. They get spent based off how good they are and
Yes.
how like compelling and effective they are. And so it does not behoove us at all to skimp on a UGC creator and get something that's 70% what we could get for, you know, an extra $200 or something that's 100% and can scale the moon. So
Weren't you just pitching? You literally talking. You totally flipped the script because you literally gave the exact inverse pitch for the jingles.
right. Well, so the jingles are not.
What happened was
Got him.
No, it's incentive. The jingles are not performance based. No one subscribes to the show for the jingles. Well, some people do, but not everyone.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I would challenge that thesis, but I get the macro point. I get what you're saying. Yeah, so I mean, I think to me, what you need to identify is like, are you looking at this through the lens of value, where value is a vector or a function of return on investment, which is a function of price, but it's not the only thing that goes into price? Because that's how I see things as a CMO at a SaaS company. Like I have money to spend, so it's never how much money is it going to cost is the first question. It's always like, okay, what's the impact of the business, or what's the value that I can generate from that? And then you back into an ROI with an expense there. So I think that's the only thing is like, are you looking for creative through the lens of cost or value? If it's cost, for sure, I totally get it. Where it's like, hey, if you would just want to test value props or whatever, and you don't think the actual delivery is super important, then this might be a better path. But once you have everything tidied up, it's like, hey, I have a creator that nails it all the time, gets the script, gets the brand. So yeah, I see both sides of it for sure.
All right, so let's move on to the next segment, SaaS Survivor.
Okay, this is definitely the best one. This is pretty strong. Oh, there's no powerful snare solo or something?
So
Unbelievable.
That's the other problem with AI generation in general, is that it's hard to make small tweaks. If I wanted to like change something, it just generates a whole new version. And so it's very hard to do iterations.
I think they call it, I forget the fancy term, but it's basically no memory. Like it's not amnesia. Is it amnesia?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, we've been curating this list over 6 episodes of the top tools that you would need if you were like starting a new business or running a business or scaling a business. There's some that maybe shouldn't be on here. There's maybe some that people paid to be on here. I don't know. I'm not sure. But very curious if there's tools that you use that are very important that might not be on this particular list.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple that are a little more niche, might not apply to everyone. It's more kind of specific to a performance marketing agency, but
sure.
I mean, I don't even know what a couple of these on the list are, but I'll name drop a couple right now that are missing here that I couldn't imagine us working without right now.
Yep.
One of them is called Refunnel.
Refunnel.
Yeah, so it actually, so social commerce is a huge focus right now for us. Mm-hmm. So essentially this will sync all the videos that your brand has ever been tagged in from TikTok, from Instagram, Facebook, even Instagram stories, pulls it all into this nice dashboard. You can then request usage rights from all those creators. So all they had to do is tag the brand in the copy, like at whatever the brand's name is, and then it syncs in, and then boom, you can request usage rights one click. If they say no, you can incentivize them with a gift card or a store credit to then give you usage rights. Yeah. And it logs everything into a nice folder, so your media buying team can go in there and just only run things that have been approved already. And eventually it's like, how do we turn all of these people that have tagged the brand into affiliates for the social commerce platform? So that's like our central like operating system right now for
so let's get it on there. I love it. We use something similar. I forget the name of it, but it does a few things similar. But what would we take off here?
Ooh,
I'd probably say Toggle.
I've never heard of Toggle. What is that?
What's Toggle?
It's a personal time tracking. So Acvilla used it to track her own time and then measure it at the end of the week. But we can put Refunnel on there.
I don't track my time at all. My calendar is my time tracker, and I get everything done in between calls. So
I use Rescue Time. Same, but different.
Yep. Any other ones?
One more. Blot Out. Blot Out has been huge for us.
Blot Out. Never heard of it. What's that?
Yeah. So it's does a lot, essentially signal restoration. So you're building out your first party data and able to send it back to the ad platforms, Facebook, TikTok. You could even send it to Klaviyo.
Like Elevar?
Essentially a conversion API. Yeah, very similar to Elevar. You essentially assign lifetime IDs to everyone that comes on your website, and people that opt out of cookies or fall out of cookies after they expire. They don't fall out of your audience. You can still, have huge abandoned cart segments in Klaviyo and Facebook and everything like that. And the events that you're sending back to Facebook, they're actually usable because the brand is taking ownership of the data. They don't get tossed out like they do with Facebook Shopify Conversion API.
So what would we take off here? I've never actually heard of heatmap.com. I don't know what that is. So
I don't know. Maybe that.
I got a hat on. Yeah, I got a hat on. We could probably punt it. I mean,
I don't know. We can't do that to Chase.
That's true. But Chase,
I have not been sent merch, so I don't know what this program is.
Oh, that is. Oh no. What was Reclaim again? What's Motion?
Motion is it tracks creative in like Facebook.
Oh, that's right. I don't hate Motion. Canva. I don't know. Because you guys using ChatGPT.
Yeah, we do.
Right? Yeah, I feel like that one. What would we nuke? I guess Slack. I mean, Slack is a necessity, though.
Slack's a must. You can't pump that.
What are you talking about? All right, it's heat map until some merch arrives on my door.
I'm gonna get such an angry text. Well, he's not watching anyway. So
what was it called? How was it? How is it?
Blot Out. Yeah, just BLOTOUT.
Okay.
Blotout.io if you guys want to go check it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the CEO of Blot Out is one of the smartest people I've met in D2C and digital marketing in general. So, and he's willing to jump in on the weekend after hours, help you if you're pixel something's going wrong with it. So he's a legend.
All right, moving on to the next segment here.
Yo, Jonathan Snow with the oxygen flow. Step into the ring, he knows everything.
All right,
that one hit.
Yeah, I think it does it one more time.
Jonathan Snow with the oxygen flow. Step into the ring, he knows everything.
Not bad, eh?
That Jay-Z gif.
Yeah. So you've had, going over your bio, you've done a million things, certainly running a top tier agency as well. What are things, what's something that really gets you up in the morning and excites you in this particular space?
Yeah, what gets me up, I mean, it's really just, we're so early right now. The book has not been written and it's so vastly evolving right before our eyes. So you got to work every day excited to just read, learn, figure things out, think about the future. How do we craft? Essentially being a trailblazer and a pioneer is how I see the e-commerce and digital, paid social realm. Being able to do that and be one of the people that have been early and at the forefront, that's extremely appealing to me. Doesn't feel like work. Feels like almost like a video game. I show up and just do what I enjoy doing. That's been it.
Can you explain social commerce succinctly? Because you've said that a few times. I just want to make sure people understand what's going on.
Yeah, social commerce is essentially where the impression and the checkout or conversion would take place all within the social media platform. So if you're seeing a TikTok video, whether it's an ad or an organic post, and you're purchasing the product that's tagged in that post within TikTok's checkout, that's a social commerce. Now, if it was an ad that you saw on TikTok and then it got redirected to the brand's website and then you're checking out on the brand's website, that's not social commerce. That's just regular e-commerce driven by social.
And so TikTok's doing this for sure at scale. Is Meta going to catch up to TikTok, do you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, Meta still has their shops, but it's really only from the paid perspective. So Instagram used to have a shopping tab native right within the app. They removed that shopping tab 1 to 2 years ago. after they realized they didn't want to be a shopping first platform. They want to put more investment during a down market into it. But there's still social commerce on Meta, on Facebook and Instagram. If you're running paid media, if you choose like website and shop conversion location, you can still check out on the shop. There's a lot of transactions being done from paid. But where TikTok is really thriving, it's the organic reach, the virality component where the brand can post on their own page or go live and they check out within TikTok, or the affiliates. So like influencers posting on their page, tagging a product, they go viral. Now you hear these brands doing hundreds of thousands in revenue from like one organic post with no media spend. That's where TikTok is thriving. Meta is definitely going to catch up. Rumblings are that they're literally cloning the affiliate marketplace of TikTok as we speak. Yep. I even heard of a brand that's in a beta right now for the relaunch of Meta's affiliate marketplace. They actually used to have it 2 years ago. They shut that down, and now it's just a creator marketplace where you can pay influencers for the video. But Meta's best at copycatting, so they're gonna clone it. They're, in my opinion, gonna relaunch it by the end of the year. Who knows if the shop tab is coming back? I believe it will, just because TikTok has already have the full playbook on display for how to do it well. So it's gonna happen, and I think that's also what's exciting me about it too. It's not just TikTok shop; it's social commerce as a whole. There's affiliates driving a lot of demand for products as like an upper funnel. So building affiliate armies, I think, is kind of the future right now, where brands don't have to pay a ton up front to get content. They're only paying affiliates on performance basis, commission on sales they drive, and I think that's the future. So
CPM's only going one direction, so you need other options,
Yep.
Okay, great. So I want to make sure we have enough time for this segment here.
Yes.
So we have we have five different drops. Singles have dropped of the DTC show jingle. And I'd love to see if any of these can they're all different genres, but I'd love to see if any of these can replace what we currently have. Feel free to, if you're watching in the chat, give us your thoughts as well. Anyone who drops anything in the chat is entered to win as well. So let's start with this first one. Here we go. And my wife did all these album covers, by the way. So props to her. Here we go.
It's the DTC Shoooooow. Jump right in, you better get on it fast. Don't miss anything with Rama and Jess. It's the latest news and some random ass guests. All your favorite segments that got you obsessed. Win some merch, be a part of the show. Get your ass up in the chat and let it all flow.
It's a sad indie girl vibe.
So much to know.
What's
It's your #1 marketing show.
So that's that one. So it does real well with melodies.
okay?
And these lyrics are not like song ready lyrics for this thing, for the show, but I think it does a pretty comparable job at doing a singer-songwriter type thing,
I mean, if you were an agency and I hired you and you came back to me with that, I wouldn't be insanely mad. No, I'm not.
Okay.
That's great work.
Yeah. Like, it was like, hey, man, this isn't horrible.
All right, well,
so I think perception and the way you set it up is a lot to do with it. Like, if you then tell me it was AI, like, it's like, it's kind of like learning the magic trick. Like, magic is so impressive, and then you're like if you're a magician, the rule number one is you never reveal your trick, because when you tell them, you're like, oh, that's easy, or that's done, you know what I mean? And so you lose some of that, because I mean, not my vibe, because it was a little too slow, but in terms of like quality, it was by no means MS Paint.
We're in for a ride, because this is in order of how good they are, starting with the worst one.
Oh wow.
Okay, so here we have a little bit more of a pop vibe here.
Oh, that's a little bit Miami.
Jump right in, you better get on it fast, so you don't miss anything with Rabba and Jess.
Give me that beat.
The latest news.
I know.
And the choreography in the background.
All your favorite segments that you are obsessed.
Dancing robot.
This is a banger.
I know you.
Oh, that's right. And then it goes into the intros.
Right.
I don't know. We need a Lex check on that, but that's not horrible.
Right. So like one of the things that I found as like I've done music production, I've been a DJ. I consider myself like almost a little bit of a snob, but I have absolutely been moving, half dancing to these things as I was making them. They're catchy.
Yeah.
Whether it's hard to do that or not, but that's absolutely one thing that they are.
Yeah, again, going through the lens, if I hired you for a jingle for this show and you brought this back to me, like by no means do I feel like hoodwinked or like what is happening.
I give that an A.
That was a banger. It was a banger. Uh-oh, wifey's not on board, huh? She liked the number one. The pop is not her scene.
No, this one is her scene. Here. This one is also my daughter's favorite. So here we go.
Ooh.
That album art is aggressive.
Jump right in, you better get on it fast, so you don't miss anything with Rabbi and Jess. It's the latest news and some random last guest. All your favorite segments that you are obsessed.
Little Billie Eilish.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of XX as well a little bit.
Yeah.
Get your ass up in the chat and let it all flow. So jump right in. There is so much to know. It's your number one marketing show.
It does real well with drops and stuff. Like it's pretty good. So what's interesting is that so Suno.com is the site that I've been using. They do not allow artist prompts. Like I think they've learned from Midjourney and other things, or artists were super pissed. I mean, the artists are going to be super pissed anyways, but you can't be like, do it as the Beatles or whatever.
Yes.
Or it doesn't recognize auto. Like if you did it as the Beatles, it would interpret the Beatles as like a bug.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So I this one with the prompt was actually Nirvana, and so it did not interpret the band Nirvana. I don't know how it came up with this, but I was like, wow, that's like Billie Eilish vibes for sure.
Yeah, because the first one was closer to Nirvana than anything.
Yep.
How interesting.
All right, so this one
on my pop beat though.
Okay, so this one is more my tempo. I actually do like this song. I might, throw it in my Spotify or whatever. But hold on, here we go. A little bit more up tempo.
The album art's creepy.
Jump right in, you better get on it fast. Don't miss anything with Rabbi and Jess. It's the latest news and some random mass guess. All your favorite segments, I got you obsessed. And some nights be a part of the show. Get your ass up in the chat, let it on. So jump right in, there's so much to know. It's your number one marketing show.
And it goes into like a breakdown and stuff. You can't do short songs. It always just includes a breakdown or whatever. But like that's good quality. I mean, it's catchy for this type of music,
Dude, I'm telling you, like, it's all about the pitch. This was my least favorite, but you do what every great marketing agency does, and you give the three picks. One that's the one you want them to pick, one that's absolutely terrible, and one that's pretty decent. And then you show all three of these, and I'd be super happy if I came to you and was like, hey, here's $5,000. I need a jingle for my show or whatever. Like, I don't know. This is not by any stretch. Like, I don't like that one. I think that one, but it was more not about, it was more taste vector than it was output vector, right? Where it's just like, hey, this is good art. I just don't appreciate it. Or this isn't what I'm looking for kind of thing. But it was by no means like a filler, if that makes sense.
Yep. And so this last one is actually my favorite.
Let's go.
That album art right there.
So the prompt here was Atlanta rap, and I wanted to see what I could do if I rewrote the lyrics a little bit to fit the theme, because previously it's been doing a real good job with really poor lyrics for any of these particular themes, but this one might be the contender for the new thing. So here we go.
Do this. Oh, yep. Jump right in, huh? Take a spin, huh? All y'all blessed, hanging around with just, huh? Ladies news, huh? Chase no guests, huh? All your favorite segments that got you obsessed, huh? Win some merch, yeah. What a chat, yeah. Let me hear you when you say where you at. It's your #1 marketing show. From it, fire team, from a team. Love the sponsor, yeah. Start the show.
Like them format shout-outs?
Oh, it's so good.
Unbelievable.
So like that's quality. Like that's quality.
Yeah.
Strong.
And so it's 10 seconds of work, you know?
Yes.
So
Is there any way to detect that this was made by AI?
I would say the mixing is shit. Like they're not mixed proper. Like mixing is a very fine art, and sound like they were mixed on like a toaster or something. But other than that, no.
Is there any way to touch it up? Like, you have an eye or an ear for mixing. You're like, oh, let me just touch this up a little, make it perfect.
No.
No.
No. It totally regenerates.
Got it.
So this last one, I wanted to see what could happen if I had AI write a song, and the prompt was write a pop song about AI that takes over the music industry and writes all the songs. All the artists are out of work except for one man who sweeps the floor of the server farm. He's the last musician on earth. And so here's the song. Well, I won't play the whole thing because it's like a minute long, but just like this is like AI is going to be writing our songs now to a certain extent. Oh, and it had to be country. Sorry. I don't know if you're country fans or not.
It's my least favorite genre.
Same.
In a world
Taste vector for sure. But
where the music's made without a soul around. He sweeps the floors under neon lights, the last musician on these 10 heavy nights.
we'll get to the drop and then we'll
He's
cut
the
it.
last big stand and holding on to the past, singing old tunes while the servers hum bass. With a broom in his hand, he's the man who recalls the strum of the strings before AI took it all. Through the buzz in the vibes, this melody soars.
Look at that background.
What music was before.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
All right, let me cut
Corners.
All right, you get the idea. But
So does it also give you the video too to accompany the song? Like a
no,
music video?
I had to find that.
Those are great.
But let me give you a few quick takes on where I think this is going. First, I think there's a lot of things that are going to get erased immediately, like stock music or jingle makers or anything where music creation, the barrier was like how to do it, because I couldn't imagine paying $100 for a stock song if I can generate 20 of them for the same price. And then I think after that, I think pop music in general is going to have a problem, because if it's so easy to create something catchy, like why pay people millions of dollars? Why are labels going to invest money into this when this is just an easier tool to get this? And I feel like the thing about pop music is it requires people that don't have a lot of taste. And these songs also, that don't require taste. Like, I'm not listening to these that's pushing the boundaries or anything, but I also don't listen to pop music like that either. So I feel like this is going to change a lot of things for, the pop music industry.
Can I give an interesting take, or obviously self-proclaimed interesting take?
Yeah.
I think, ironically enough, this is actually going to drive more artists, because what this is doing is empowering. Like, there's so many people that don't care about, like, the song is secondary or tertiary to the artist. They like the song because it came from the artist, like the Taylor Swifts of the world. And so it's going to be even more important to have this, like, if these songs were used and then you edit them enough to say, hey, this is, I mean, because, like, how far is this from a ghostwriter? And even when you think of pop music, there's that YouTube video where it's like, it's basically the same chords, just in different time, because there's this, like, resonant frequency that humans love to hear. And that's what most pop songs are based around. So I think we're already seeing it now. It's just getting democratized more and more and more. And so I think the two things are going to happen. One, there's just going to be either more entertainers or bigger entertainers, because they're going to have the ability to take something that is average or AI generated, slap their little brand on it, and then it's going to crush because it's going
the prompt engineers. All the one that used to be like writers are now prompt engineers. Or whatever.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Or that's how I see it. So I don't think it's actually going to disrupt anything, because I think AI generated art is an oxymoron. Like, it feels cold. Like, art needs to come from a human. And I think people appreciate that. How the human gets it, I don't think matters as much. I mean, there was the big Banksy. I forget the guy that was just in the Banksy thing. I forget what his name was, but he was basically just, using digital images. And that wasn't really, like, quote unquote, it wasn't super art. The hell, I forget the guy with the balloon animals. I forget his name now, but he's very similar, where he actually doesn't even do any of the art. He runs a team of artists. So how is that actually any Jeffrey, or what is his name? It's gonna kill me. Well, anyways,
so that's thinking. I also agree, but that's old person thinking. And Robert, we're old people. Like the kids who grow up not knowing freaking Nirvana and knowing these AI prompt engineers. It's going to be a different landscape in a generation, I think. All right, so we have a few minutes left. Let's
where
give
did you land on that, John?
Yeah.
John's hip and young.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with what Rabba said. Like, people care more about the artist. They're more inclined to like a song if it comes from a particular artist they like. I think it'll enable more volume. An artist to, have a lower barrier to entry, to just pump out more volume, where they don't have to get so creative. Maybe they have a prompt engineer on their team that's, like, giving them a bunch of options to, like, pick and run with. But at least it gives them a much higher starting place.
Or we'll combine that and we'll have people like Little Michaela, who are fake to begin with, who are AI generated and have their own cult following. And now they're a musician,
That is interesting. And that gets, for me, into some societal slippery slope.
Yeah.
Like that's interesting, though. It's very interesting.
All right. So let's give away some merch here.
Let's do it.
Pay no attention to that. Andy did not win. Okay. All right, so a bunch of people on the wheel here. Who is going to win this limited edition Jonathan Snow Knows Everything shirt?
Is it embarrassing? I just got that actual Game of references or Game of Thrones reference.
Yeah.
But I didn't know everything. Amazing.
Hey, Taylor.
Let's go.
Wear it with pride. Wear it with pride.
Wear it with pride.
Well done. So I don't know if you want to do Cops and Robbers. Certainly can. If you want to do it quickly.
You guys, I got nothing for you, really. What am I buying? I haven't bought. I got nothing really great for you. I'll have some. I spent some dough in the last few days, but I haven't gotten it yet, so I don't. Have any. Well,
at the very least, we'll hear the AI generated jingle for it.
Okay, perfect. Give it to me.
All right, hold on.
What did I buy? Surely I bought something.
But I want to congratulate you, Jon Snow, because we now have 350 viewers. That is the record. It certainly beat the Shaq episode.
Unbelievable. This guy.
Here we go.
It's down to run it back. If you ever need another guy.
Oh, this is great. I'm at the hookah bar
That's my
right
favorite
now.
one.
shoes on deck. Maybe it's booze on checks. Rubber, show us what you got with the latest drop.
This is a banger. This is Miami.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Vibe.
It's Caribbean, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a vibe. All right, that's well done there. I'm coming around to that. They escalated way better. There was
They sound better with your name in it, right?
yeah. That's actually a real thing, but we'll save that for the psychology episode.
But that's actually part of the future. If these are so customizable and so easy to produce, like I don't want to hear a song about a love story that's not my love story, in a generation or so.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
That is the future. So thank you everyone in the chat for coming through. 358 of y'all.
Let's go.
Well done. Episode 6. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Jonathan Snow, thank you for coming. Fire guest, as always, as expected. Appreciate you.
Expected.
Thanks for having me.
So we now have an outro tune. And then, John, don't go anywhere. We do have a sort of a last wrap-up segment. But finally, the outro tune.
It's the DTC Shoooooow outro. You don't have to go back to work, but you can't stay here. It's almost the weekend, so grab yourself a beer. But before you black out, can you give us a shout? By liking and subscribing, it would really help us out.
Not bad. But like the breadth of what this tool can do is
the diversity of the music. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is, yeah, it's going to become less of a deliverable game and more of a packaging, pricing, and presentation game. Because that's all those are not horrible. And with the right charismatic person, you could sell all those.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So the last part, Jonathan, Robert, do you want to come in hot and do it?
Yeah, what am I doing? The show. What do we get? Yeah, amazing.
So Rob's going to come in and be like, super exciting, whatever. Jonathan, tell us what we saw. And then you can sort of run down this list. You could add a little bit of character to any of these particular things. And then that segment is going to start the YouTube upload next week. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right. We got to dial it up to 11 here. This is what's going to hook people into watching the episode.
This is Hook. Am I leading in or is John doing it?
Yeah. You come in and then cue.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, folks, welcome back to another DTC show. We actually had the wonderful Lord Commander, a.k.a. Jon Snow, running the ship. He actually slayed the guest in 10 seconds segment, set a new record. We also set a new record for viewership. Amazing stuff here, and John's going to tell you more about it.
Yeah, so today we touched on my biography in just under 10 seconds. We hit some D2C news of the week, Shopify's new management program and how they're reviewing performance reviews, began to AI deepfakes and how ethical or usable and scalable that is in the world of social commerce. SaaS Survivor, you got to find out who got the punt. Hint, might be on a piece of merch that you're looking at right now. Then we get into Jonathan Snow knows everything, and I don't even remember what that entailed, but it probably had to do with fantasy football and winning multiple championships, selling brands or selling agencies, who knows, maybe a little bit of everything. And then Jess takes us through AI and music. 5 singles that are probably better than everything on the top 50 right now on Spotify. And then we get into who wins the Jonathan Snow Knows Everything t-shirt. Only 2 like it in the whole world. One of them I'll have. One of them Taylor's going to have. And then we get into Cops and Rabba, which was filled with absolutely nothing because Rabba didn't buy anything this week because he's broke from his IRS tax returns. So it was a blast. Glad we got that top viewership in. And Rabba, I'm looking forward to that whatever you cop next episode.
Love it. 12 out of 10. Well done.
12 out of 10.
Done.
There we go.
Action. No notes.
All right. So I'm cutting the stream. 378. That's the winner. Well done, everyone. I'll see you guys in the green room.